Hello everyone, welcome to Project Sekai Distorted World. In this video, we'll be introducing our Project Sekai AU, Project Sekai Distorted World, also known as PSDW, and be talking about it a little bit.
We've been working on this AU for the past few months. We're very excited to finally show it off.
Project Sekai Distorted World is an AU where the world of Project Sekai is shuffled up and, dare I say, distorted. In this distorted reality, units, classes, sekais, and even personalities and lore are different. The Vocaloids within the sekais are also aware that this universe is different than it should be. Although, I will admit, we haven't gotten too far into writing the Vocaloids yet, so you'll just have to tune in and watch this concept grow with us.
Our channel will be centered around posting all sorts of content, such as memes, art, animations, videos, and much more. We're even hoping to make main stories for our units, voice acted by us in the far future.
Before we start introducing our units, we would like to make a quick disclaimer. All of this is just for fun. We are in no means professional writers, and this AU is by no means perfect. We also don't intend to make any money from this project in any way, shape, or form.
Another thing before we get started, we'll be displaying info cards with information about our versions of the characters on them. We'll point in reference to these, however, they may go by fast. Feel free to pause to read the info cards at any time. We'll also probably post these info cards on our community tab. With all of that out of the way, let's start with Rika talking about our first unit, Deluded Daydreams.
Deluded Daydreams is an idol group made of 4 lonely girls who seem to give hope to others, as well as find hope for themselves. This is the unit that started the entire AU. I was thinking about Minnow Mafu, as they're one of my favorite rare pairs, and I have a theory about how Minori would be just as depressed as Mafu if she never saw Haruka on TV. This made me realize that it'd be cool if they were in a unit together in such a universe. And after that, I realized that Haruka would also be less hopeful if Minori was never an idol. So I added her to the unit, and added Kanade to pair along with Mafu. After this is when I started thinking up the other units and their concepts, because I liked the idea of an AU focusing on canon divergence. The name Deluded Daydreams came from the concept of them all daydreaming about a better, more helpful life than their own, with those daydreams being delusional. Although, this could be referring to how this entire AU is built off of distorted reality, which could be interpreted as a deluded daydream. Now onto the characters. While writing Mafu, I realized that if she didn't have Kanade's music, then I would have to give her a reason to live and not be dead essentially. This is when I came up with the idea for her to have a similar conflict with her mother and her wanting to be something else, but this time more focused on growing up and Mafu wanting to return to her childhood, when she was happy. Mafu would be the one to design everyone's unit outfits, as she likes costume design and cute things. Minori has a similar personality to what I imagined in my theory, hopeless, lifeless, and just generally depressed. She was actually intended to be the leader before I decided that Mafu would be a better pick. Some of Minori's character is even loosely based off of Sunny from Amori. Although I shouldn't be talking about that considering I haven't finished Amori. Anyways, I also liked the idea of keeping a concept from OG Sekai, which is her being surrounded by famous and talented idols as an amateur, but presented it in a different and more pessimistic way, as you can see on the info card. While Minori was probably one of the more easier characters to write, seeing as I already had a concept of what she would be like personality-wise, Kanade was probably the hardest to figure out, likely because she was the last member that was added to this group. I'm still very happy with her writing though. Ironically, Minori and Kanade ended up having a slight personality swap, as Kanade is the one to go outside rather than Minori. While Kanade has the same middle school trauma, figuring out her quitting was the hard part. That's when we eventually settle on her not fully giving up, but being unsure of what to do and trying to find happiness in other things, just in case her music career didn't quite work out the way she hoped it would. Thankfully, writing Haruka was mostly straightforward, as she's similar to her personality in the More Jump main story before becoming a part of More Jump. Like I mentioned before, we wrote Haruka with Minori's impact from More Jump in mind, or rather, the absence of Minori's impact. Lonely Universe is a song that inspired me because of the Haruka cover. It made me realize not only how much Haruka changed Minori's life, but how much Minori changed Haruka's life in OG Sekai. With all that said, I hold this unit very close to my heart. After all, like I said, they started the whole AU. In general, I just really like their theme. I also think their untitled song would be Dance of the Corpses by Kikuo, although their general music genre would probably be more like a lo-fi style. I think Dance of the Corpses would be a good song for them, as, in my interpretation applying them to Deluded Daydreams, I think the song would basically be them inviting others to join them in a lifeless world of their own as they try to find hope together. Yes, I know that's not what the song is actually about, but that's how I interpret it in this context. Kikuo's music in general fits them though. I have many ideas for Kikuo music that Deluded Daydreams could sing. Another thing I'd love to mention is that while the Sekai and Vocaloid designs haven't been made yet, we think that Deluded Daydreams Sekai would have a lot of stars and clouds, as well as creatures that Mafuyu writes in her stories roaming around. One of Mafuyu's aspirations is to write books for children, so I think a childlike wonderland with hits of melancholy would fit them perfectly. But of course, none of that is final. The final fact I'll give about Deluded Daydreams is that they all have stage names. The reason is because Mafuyu didn't want to have her name public as Mafuyu Asahina, idol in Deluded Daydreams, due to her mother. The same goes with Harika due to her idol career, and not wanting her name to be as widespread. For the stage names themselves, we have Hoshi for Mafuyu, Yume for Minori, Suisei for Kanade, and Nozomi for Harika. All these names have specific meanings. However, the name Hoshi was chosen for Mafuyu specifically because Harika's is Nozomi. Nozomi can mean wish or hope, while Hoshi means star. So I figured, because Mafuyu is the leader and likely the one who had the idea to start the idol unit, then it would mean that Harika would be wishing on a star to become an idol again, and the star, Mafuyu, would make it come true. I just figured that it would be cute. I hope these translations are correct because that would be embarrassing if they weren't. With that done though, it's time for Kk to talk about our next unit, Desolate Deception.
Desolate Deception is a group of 4 people-pleasing orchestral musicians with the desire to express their true feelings through their music. As stated in their description, Desolate Deception is a group of people who all struggle with people-pleasing tendencies. In OG Project Sekai, all 4 of these characters are known for letting the feelings and wants of others somewhat control their personalities, passions, and/or dreams. But in this AU, things are going quite differently. While they still struggle with being people-pleasers, they're trying to break free from that mindset and finally do the things they want and truly love, regardless of the opinions and judgment from others. Anna, while still somewhat struggling with this and seeking affirmation, has decided she's had enough and can't bear to create things she doesn't truly love anymore, as it's weighing heavily on her mental health. She deletes all of her social medias and starts making art that she truly enjoys, as well as going back to art classes and playing piano again. Tsukasa has realized his people-pleasing nature, and just wanting to make others happy regardless of his own feelings is what drove him and his sister apart, as mentioned in his info card. We wanted to create a force between the temas as we thought it could be interesting writing-wise. While most of the group's personalities stayed relatively the same to OG Project Sekai, Tsukasa's personality has changed quite a bit from losing his relationship with his sister. It left him feeling broken and lost. But in hopes to prove to his sister he could be better and regain her trust, as well as ensuring he would never lose a relationship to this again, he's striving to change his ways, making music for himself, things he enjoys instead of what others would want, and not letting the opinions and judgment of others change his passions or life direction. He hopes to find an audience that can genuinely love his music as much as he does. Honami, facing bullying through middle school and lacking any close friends, struggled to be herself due to fear of judgment and losing more connections. But when realizing her people-pleasing tendencies caused people to judge and bully her more, she decided she had enough and started to finally do the things she wanted to do. One of the many things she was bullied for, she joined the art club and started drawing more, something she's always wanted to do to express herself more, but was scared because of the judgment and harsh words she'd received in the past. Now she finally feels she has a place she could express herself freely. Ishika is a little different from the others because her people-pleasing tendencies aren't as prominent in OG Project Sekai, although they are still there. In this AU, we had to change this a bit of course so she'd fit in with Desolate Deception. Losing her friend group Leonid has caused her to feel guilty because she puts a lot of the blame on herself for not trying hard enough to reconnect, being that their Sekai never existed to push her and give her that courage, making her feel like a bad friend in person. And through this loneliness, being stuck with her thoughts constantly, she internalized a new fear of people leaving her because of it. This is what starts turning her into the people-pleaser she is in Desolate Deception. She lets the fears and expectations of others start to change her and make her feel like she had to be better, that she wasn't enough. That was until she met Desolate Deception. They're starting to make her realize that people can love her for her and that she shouldn't have to change herself for that. Although she still fears she'll lose her friends again, she's determined she won't let anything like that happen ever again. And with that, Desolate Deception all bond over these people-pleasing personalities and tendencies with these changes as well as their original concepts, and together, they're working to break free from that and create art and music that they truly love while hoping to bring others who feel the same joy. Desolate Deception is a group of artists and orchestral musicians. We wanted them all to bond over art, so Tsukasa, Ichika, and Honami now attend art classes. Tsukasa and Ichika attend one together, while Honami attends the art club alone, as well as Anna during her usual classes. Their untitled song is Tears of Garnet. This was chosen mainly because of the vibes, but I think the lyrics can have some importance here. While I interpreted this as a love song after reading the lyrics, I can also see it as a loss of friendship or some kind of close connection, which all of Desolate Deception can relate to. What I like most about Desolate Deception is honestly their dynamics. They're so interesting to write for, and I'm especially excited to write more about En and Tsukasa's relationship and the way they met. It's too much to discuss in this video, but I'm looking forward to talking about them more eventually. Now back to Rika with our next unit, Scarlet Chord.
Scarlet Chord is a metal band of 4 people who have trouble trusting anyone besides each other. Scarlet Chord is probably my favorite unit to write for. I love writing for all of them, but this unit is particularly fun to me. They're a metal/rock band, which might come up as unusual considering Saki and Emma are in here, but I hope once you see our rewrites you'll see why we have them in such a group. The concept of the group mainly started with An and Saki. An's rewrite was built off of the vibes that I felt from the light of the fire event, and the hypothetical what-if scenario of An figuring it all out soon, when she's less mature and doesn't actually have a singing partner yet. An never meets Kohane in this AU, as she runs away from Vivid Street before she can, as you can see on the info card. An and Akito do still know each other in this AU, but they aren't close. Since An doesn't care about Red Weekend anymore, Akito and An don't share that dream, but instead, they share a connection from running away from Vivid Street. On to Saki, the other main character that started this unit's concept. As you can see, she's much less positive in this AU. And as you can see on the info card, she isn't close to many of the people she's close with in OG Sekai, including Tsukasa. Her character was built on the idea of her being unable to bring Leonie back together, thanks to feelings changing, Ichika and Shio changing schools, and the general distortion of the universe. Saki doesn't hate any of them, but she's very hurt over the abandonment. On the other hand, she absolutely does have a disliking towards Tsukasa, which is something that Kk talked about when talking about Desolate Deception. In Saki's eyes, she doesn't know what Tsukasa lies about and what he hides, leading her to dislike and not trust him, despite his actual intentions. We wanted to make this change to the Tenma's relationship to make both of their relationships with their respective units much more important and special. Now, Toya is probably my favorite character in this AU, even though I love them all. It's hard to explain why, but his personality and being proud of his design just did it for me, I guess. He was actually supposed to be part of the next unit, but I'm very happy we decided to put him here instead. Kk and I like to joke about him being the clawful character of the AU, mainly due to the way we had to bend backwards to make him running away from his father work that I will not be discussing in this video because unfortunately I'm trying to make people not bully us for that aspect. I'm still pretty happy with his writing regardless of that. In this AU, he lived with An, so basically they both kind of ran away from their homes. An and Toya were friends in middle school, and they're very close. I hope you'll enjoy their relationship, because I really like their relationship. I could ramble about Toya all day, so I think I'll just stop myself there, though. Now finally, to talk about Emu. She's one of the characters who's very different than her OG Sekai counterpart, but despite that, deep down she still is pretty similar. She still has the same childish nature, but she just hides it. As shown on her info card, one of her specialties is business. She tries to learn more about business because she wants to become so good that basically she knows nothing bad will happen, like with Phoenix Wonderland closing down. When it comes to her trust issues aren't necessarily directed towards other people, but rather to herself, as she thinks that if she tried harder, she could have stopped Phoenix Wonderland shutting down. And that's that. Scarlet Chord in general is super enjoyable for us to talk about and write. Another thing to mention is how their untitled song would be Tokyo Teddy Bear by Neru. It's hard to explain why, but I think if you listen to the song and read the lyrics, you'll get what we mean here. If I had to choose a Vocaloid producer that fits them, I would naturally go with Utsuki. I think it should be obvious why. Hell, Utsuki even made his own arrangement of Tokyo Teddy Bear. We hope you'll enjoy this unit. Next, Kk will be talking about our next unit, Wildcards.
Wildcards is a group of 4 eccentric actors who seem innocent on the outside but hide their deepest emotions. When deciding this group's members, it was crucial that they all have some kind of wild side to them, something they all keep hidden out of fear of judgment. Rui, Mizuki, and Shizuku are already known in OG Product Sekai to have a hidden personality they've been shunned to rarely show. They still have their similarities to OG Product Sekai, but they also have their differences. Rui has been taken advantage of by most of his friends, minus Nene, throughout his life before meeting Wildcards, being seen as weird or an outcast. He was used for his smarts and inventing skills to create things for others who only wanted to use him. Mizuki was bullied and judged for their gender identity and the way they dressed throughout their life and struggled to make friends who could see them for them. Shizuku was forced to be someone she wasn't for the public eye and ended up losing her only close friend in the process of quitting. In Kohane's case though, in OG Project Sekai, she has a lot of anxiety and shyness with little reason known why. We wanted to really focus this on her main writing difference. In this AU, she has previously been bullied for her wild and eccentric personality, causing her to close herself off and mask in front of others, producing this anxiety and shyness. With all of their original concepts, as well as our changes, they all relate to each other through their struggles with society's image of them. But together, they finally feel they can be themselves. We wanted to showcase that in their logo. To do this, we went with the puppet hanging on 2 strings, while the rest are broken. It represents being controlled by society and such, and that they're breaking free from that. Wildcards is actually a group of social media influencers. They perform their shows live as well as record them for their online audience. Their shows are a lot like what Rui did before joining Wonderland's Showtime. Mizuki and Rui design costumes together, Kohane records their shows as well as edits with Mizuki, and Shizuku is mainly a performer just like the rest of the group members, but she also likes to try and help out the others when she can. Their music genre isn't fully established, but we like to think they have some kind of jazzy swing vibes, but it's a bit varied. Carnival Happy was chosen as their untitled song, mainly because it's chaotic vibes, but the lyrics do have some importance. With Wildcards in mind, I personally interpreted the meanings like this. The fear of judgment pushing you into a corner where all you feel you can do is pretend everything is okay, pushing your emotions aside to appear fine and even playful or childlike, in the process hiding your true self. It also gives the impression this person is sick of feeling this way and finally ready to escape, but they need help from either others feeling the same or affirmation from the people they're so desperately trying to please. Hint, the pleading not to be abandoned. Wildcards can relate to this in the sense that they're afraid of abandonment and judgment, and felt as although they couldn't be their true selves until meeting each other, and together they're trying to escape these fabricated personalities they've made for society and finally be their true self. I think what I like and admire most about Wildcards is their ability to prevail through all the hurt and pain they've suffered by society's hands and reach out to create something so perfectly them, while touching those who may struggle with the same and maybe even the people who've hurt them along the way. They just want to be themselves and teach others it's okay to do the same. Back to Rika, we'll be continuing on to our next and final unit, Electro Heart.
Electro Heart is a group made of 4 musicians who ran away from their original dreams and banded together to create revolutionary music together. Last but not least, it's time to talk about Electro Heart. Just like how they're the last unit we'll be talking about, they were also the last unit I made. I tried not to make them solid heart class, but I ended up failing. Regardless, I still love them though. This unit started with Aki Shiho, which is definitely not because of any sort of bias. Speaking of Aki Shiho though, I'll be starting with Akito and Shiho first. Akito has a similar personality to OG Sekai. However, in this AU he never met Toya and wasn't able to make it anywhere in Vivid Street. He got bullied relentlessly until he eventually had to run away to get anywhere. As you can see on his info card, Akito is good with makeup. The place this idea came from is actually pretty funny though. Basically, one day I was scrolling through Pinterest and I saw a headcanon post about Akito, and it headcanoned Akito being more feminine, liking makeup. In the comments, some guy was saying stuff like how this is literally ruining this character, and it was so funny to KK and I that we decided to add it to PSCW Akito's character just to spite them. So, if you're watching this, random Pinterest user, thank you! Anyways, on to Shiho now. I will admit this right now, since Shiho is my biggest kinny, there is a decent amount of projection here. But I still tried my best to keep Shiho as her own character here. KK and I liked the idea of Shiho eventually not being able to handle the bullying and moving away to Kamiko, which would be both to make sure her childhood friend's reputation didn't get hurt, and also because she herself couldn't handle it. Shiho moved to Kamiko before Ichika, and like Ichika's info card said, Shiho now avoids her as much as possible. Akito and Shiho are also very close in this AU as well, and them being in the same school hopefully will bring that out further. Airi also has a close relationship with not only Akito due to them being in the same unit and bonding over the same struggles, but also Enna as she's classmates with her. In general, Airi has a similar personality to OG Sekai. Although unlike OG Sekai, Airi only leaves the idol industry during the main story thanks to Akito getting to know her closely and inviting her to join Electro Heart. Like KK mentioned while talking about Wildcards, Shizuku lost her closest friend when she quit being an idol. This friend was Airi, as shown in their info cards. To this day, Airi would still be worried about another friendship ending with her between someone like it did with Shizuku. Our final character to discuss is Nene. In this AU, instead of slowly working towards her dreams of being a musical actress with her friends, she's already given this opportunity, but eventually this dream changes. We want to use Nene's characterization here to show how dreams can come and go, as well as change whenever, and how that's okay. The Despite Nana having more confidence in Seiyu, she's still not exempt from anxiety. The main part of her anxiety that was removed was her stage fright, but we did want to make sure that she's still similar to the Nana we all know, just with a different take. Electro Heart is a very fun unit, and they're probably the happiest out of every unit, but of course, they're not exempt from angst. All of them have a connection of running away from their original dreams, and all of them have struggled with difficult environments mentally. They're all trying to work through any of their traumas from these environments together. I honestly think they're all so cute, so I hope you'll enjoy them. Their music style is electro pop, similar to VBS, but with more synths and a more pop feel. As weird as it feels to say, I think their untitled song would be Cyberpunk Kid Boy by Mike the Peak. Despite the song originally being a Wonderland's Showtime commission, I think the vibes of the song and the lyrics fit Electro Heart very well. The final thing I will mention is a quick description of our vision for their Sekai. Kk and I imagined a cyberpunk cityscape with lots of neon colors and just a very cool vibe in general. I think an example I'll give for a comparison of it would be New Lumos from Utopia. Even their music really fits them, and there's a chance that their music is currently playing in the background for this segment. I still don't know what the music is. I'm just pretending. This isn't even scripted. I'm just pretending to go with it. What's funny about that comparison is originally Electro Heart was actually intended to have electro swing as their main music genre, but that eventually slowly faded into turning into electro pop. With all that said, that's all of our units. Please note again that all this is just for fun. Not everything here is 100% final. We hope you enjoy our concepts and will stick around to watch them grow.
We'd like to give a special thanks to the following people for supporting us while we were writing: Steffi, Jessie, Asteroid, Momo, Harika, and Zenzen. These people either helped us with concepts, made fan content, or just generally supported us during the process of working on this video. Your support motivated us to keep going, and we are very thankful. If you supported us and weren't mentioned, please know that that does not mean we're not thankful for your support.
We would also like to thank all of you for currently watching. Whether you're here for the premiere of this video or not, you watching this far into the video makes us extremely happy. If you're still here listening to us, please consider liking and sharing our content so more people can see, as well as subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us keep working and making this the best we possibly can make it. One final thanks I'd like to give is to Kk. None of this would have been possible without her. Whenever I started making this AU and I first made Deluded Daydreams, I didn't expect it to become something as big as it was, but it just eventually ended up happening, and Kk eventually ended up joining me because I was kind of like rambling to her as I made the concepts, and she helped me, and eventually we got this far. I never expected it to go this far, and I'm really happy. None of this is scripted, but I needed to say that. She's gonna see this while editing, but just makes me very happy. And same with everyone that supported this AU. It all makes me so happy, so thank you. Ending on kind of a sad, not sad, I don't know the word. Ending on a different note than I figured I would, but thank you all again. Let's create something amazing together, shall we?